just mentioning that in Oregon, University of Oregon, that they're now going to tear down a statue of a pioneer. The statue is a bronze statue about life size of a man, a pioneer. He has a big bushy beard. He's got a pioneer hat on. You know, it's not a cowboy hat, but it's got a wide brim kind of turned up on one side. He's got a rifle slung over his shoulder because, you know, you got to hunt for varmints so you can eat food and everything, not to mention looking out for bad guys. So this statue is on a rock, and the feet are probably at about chest level for anyone walking by. Life-size statue of a pioneer. And the campus reform story has University of Oregon students and faculty are demanding the removal of an American pioneer statue on its 100-year anniversary. The statue depicts a pioneer standing on a rock with a rifle slung over his shoulder and a whip in his right hand. Meow. Although no suspects were identified, the statue was vandalized in April with red spray paint on its crotch and whip, according to the Daily Emerald. Sculptor Alexander Phimister Proctor, who designed the statue and installed it at the university in 1919, aimed to celebrate the achievements of pioneers, according to the University of Oregon. Emerald Daily reported the University of Oregon Native American Student Union, they unionized, protested for the removal of the pioneer statue in May on the 100-year anniversary of the statue's installation on campus. According to the Daily Emerald, the newspaper, Brett Gilbert, co-leader of the NASU, organized the protest in the hope of getting a list of signatures in support of the statue's removal. Yeah, because, you know, if there are any statues of Neil Armstrong anywhere, we should do away with those too. A lot of our students feel oppressed by the statue. I know when I walk under it, you don't walk under it, you walk by it. You couldn't walk under it if you wanted to. I know when I walk under it, I feel very inferior. You need therapy. I don't think tearing down the statue is going to change your mental state, which is obviously unstable. He said, I don't feel that way when I'm at other places on campus. I don't think that's what the university community wants us to feel when we're here. You really need medication. You need help. It's a bronze statue, and it's just a statue. Sometimes a statue is just a statue. Honestly, it's a pioneer. They're so dysfunctional. They don't know how to live on the planet. Nobody taught them how to be normal. They're basket cases. They're pathetic, sad, wimpy losers. They're snowflakes. They're a joke. They're not adults. They're clowns. Can I say it any I think I probably made myself clear on that. What do you think? Think I'd probably move on from there? Wow, that's just great stuff. Also, in San Francisco, where you have more liberals, mural of George Washington that traumatizes students to be covered up. This is sort of same story, different state. This is really the mental incapacity of the modern American snowflake. These are mostly people in their 20s. How sad. We should turn them over to the Japanese. I'd like to just give them we could recreate the Bataan Death March. These are the same age as the people that won World War II. Listen to them. Stormed the beaches of Normandy, and look what we've produced. Look at this. What a tragedy. The College Fix has this story. Mural of George Washington that traumatizes students to be covered up. The statue of a pioneer makes them feel inferior, and it makes them shake, and they feel oppressed. Now, a mural of George Washington traumatizes students. Really. You know, we've always had weak, pathetic people in our culture, but in the old days, not so long ago, before Barack Obama, they didn't drive the train. We said, isn't that nice? Go seek help. And then we got on with our lives like normal people. Now we say, you feel oppressed by a bronze statue of a pioneer? Oh, well, we'll remove the statue. This is ridiculous, can I just say? There are plans in the works to cover a mural of George Washington from the halls of George Washington High School in San Francisco due to complaints that it's offensive and demeaning to Native Americans and African Americans. They're completely dysfunctional. They honestly are. The San Francisco School Board, they're dysfunctional too. Obviously, look at the results they're getting, is expected to decide next week whether to cover the image or paint over it. But there are no plans among top officials to leave the imagery in the open for students to view, according to several Bay Area news reports. School board members appear to agree with the working group's determination that the mural, quote, traumatizes students and community members, end quote. The Life of Washington mural, which consists of 13 panels, was painted in 1936, probably an FDR WPA effort. You know, a taxpayer-funded Works Progress Administration under Franklin Delano Roosevelt project. They did a lot of these arts projects. One of the images involves Washington, and I would say it depicts Washington gesturing toward a group of explorers. Oh, and here's explorers again. We already know that they feel oppressed by explorers from centuries ago in the new frontier. Of explorers who are walking by the body of presumably deceased Native American. Another panel depicts Washington next to several slaves performing various types of manual labor. At a June 18th special meeting to consider the controversial paintings, quote, not one school board member advocated for keeping the mural, according to San Francisco Weekly. Instead, commissioners, various commissioners, all of them, commented on how emotionally draining it was to hear and have others rehash for them the pain they know firsthand comes from violent, demeaning imagery like this. Can you just imagine all the movies we're going to have to ban to protect these people from the horrors of history? Wow. This is today's Democrat Party. This is what they've done to a once great and God-fearing nation. Oh, speaking of great and God-fearing nations, there's another great Democrat story out here today in Alaska. It's in Alaska. The Hail Satan people. There's more Democrats. It's more news from the Democrat Party. Hail Satan opening prayer at Alaska government meeting prompts walkout, protests. Several attendees at a government meeting open to the public in Alaska walked out in protest after an opening prayer praising Satan. The Associated Press reports the prayer where a woman declared, "Hail Satan." There's audio of this, too. There's video of it and everything like that. Hail Satan was given by the Satanic Temple member Iris Fontana, who won the right to open the meeting with an invocation of her choice. And then I'm not going to read what she read, but she's praising Satan and she's hailing Satan. And the ACLU fought for her right to praise and hail Satan in the opening. Now, at the same time, liberals are fighting against Christian prayers opening county council meetings, town hall meetings, and they want to wipe out under God and take it off the dollar bills. But they're the ACLU completely in favor of Satan worshipers having their day in the sun.
God is dead! Satan lives! The year is won!
There you go. That was DNC headquarters yesterday in Washington, D.C. Actually, it was Rosemary's Baby, but that's not important right now. Also, the Supreme Court ruled yesterday, much to the chagrin of American liberals, that the Maryland Peace Cross, honoring the military dead from World War I, may remain in place on public land. And liberals are very upset about it. Now, I mean, just go through this thing. They're going to destroy the statue of the pioneer because they feel oppressed by a statue of a pioneer. They're going to cover up George Washington because history is too frightening for them, and they're terrified. They fight in favor of the Church of Satan, using their opening prayers, quotation marks with my fingers, to start government meetings. And they're angry that a stone cross commemorating the war dead in Prince George's County from World War I will be allowed to stay in place. Now, honestly, if they're not the Church of Satan, and then there's there's that Klansman in Virginia who's also a pediatrician, interestingly enough, with the set the child aside and decide later whether you're going to kill them. This is today's Democratic Party. They are not well. These people are not well. The Supreme Court ruled yesterday that the Maryland Peace Cross honoring military dead may remain in place. A 40-foot cross erected as a tribute to World War I dead may continue to stand on public land in Maryland, the Supreme Court ruled Thursday, rejecting arguments by liberals that it represented an unconstitutional endorsement of religion. It doesn't. The vote was 7-2 for the Bladensburg Peace Cross, which is just outside of Washington, D.C., which towers over a busy intersection on a highway just south of the District of Columbia in Prince George's County, Maryland. But the case's resolution prompted an outpouring of individual opinions as the court struggled to explain what should be done with displays on government property that feature religious imagery. How about, have you been to, for example, the cemetery at Normandy in France? How about Arlington National Cemetery or other military cemeteries? Justice Samuel A. Alito wrote the main opinion and said history and tradition must be taken into account when judging modern objections to monuments that were built with a secular purpose or have come to take on a new meaning. And, of course, it was two lefties that were against it. Justice Roberts in favor of it, Clarence Thomas in favor of it, Stephen Breyer and Elena Kagan in favor of it, Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh in favor of it, of course. And who does that leave? I think we know who. You got your Ruth Bader Ginsburg and crazy lefty. Who was the standout here? The Breyer. Of course, they're against Jesus and God, but they're in favor of fourth trimester abortion and taking down pioneer statues because people feel oppressed by bronze statues. Take down George Washington because the mural shows history, and history is quite frightening. It's very frightening to certain people.